As promised, I'm bringing on singer-songwriter Ali Berke from Long Island, New York. She is a very talented artist that I can't wait for you to meet and hear. She just released a single. In this interview, you're going to hear her say that she's releasing a single next week. We recorded this 2 weeks ago, so the single's already out, just came out a few days ago on Friday. The single is called 19 through 20. Be sure to go check it out on all the digital streaming platforms. We get to listen to another one of her songs on this segment. Don't miss it. Here it is, an all new Artist on Call.
Artist on Call. Artist on Call.
We are here with Ali Berke from Long Island. How are you, Ali?
I'm so good. How are you?
I'm great. And I love your sound. I love everything you got going on. What have you been up to lately?
Thank you, number one. And lately I have been super busy, constantly in the studio, in rehearsals. I've been getting ready for a couple of shows that I'm doing in Long Island. We're shooting a music video next week. We have a new song coming out next week. So my life has been super busy, but I love every second of it.
I could imagine, and like I was just telling you before we started recording, I love how you have a music video for every one of your releases that I've seen so far. So do you find that to be like a big aspect, a very important aspect to your songs is the visual?
Yeah, for sure. I mean, I know personally, like I love visual. I'm a very visual person. And I feel like I'm a very big person where when I'm writing songs, I'm telling a story. So no matter like kind of what the visual is, even if it's just a video of me standing there singing, like you can see the emotion through kind of what I'm saying. And I feel like it just lets the listener know and like see the emotion like really raw. And of course, like tells a story like in some of my videos.
Absolutely. Now, how much of the production do you become a part of during the recording process? Do you have any say in that?
I am totally hands-on with the entire production. I work very closely with my creative director, my videographer, my producer. I am there for every single step of the way, every single beat of the song, every cut of the video. I'm like, I don't like this. Let's try this angle. Let's do the choreo this way instead of that way. Like I'm very hands-on, and especially because it's my vision. So it's so cool to see it come to life. And my team is awesome, and I love working with them.
Absolutely. I've been impressed, and I love what I'm hearing, love what I'm seeing. The momentum is going. Like, how long have you been doing this for? Like, you're 21 now, correct?
I'm 21. I'll be 22 in October, but
Nice.
I have professionally recording music since I'm 13.
Wow. That's awesome. Yeah. And like, what influenced it at a young age?
So when I was growing up, like ever since I was like 2-3 years old, I used to do like Elvis karaoke in my living room, and my dad would like kind of give me the microphone, and he would want to record me, and I'd be like, no, like don't record me. And then there was just one day that I just like hit the spark, and I was like, get the camera, I'm ready to go. And I grew up, like watching like Hannah Montana and like a whole bunch of like people like that. And when I was growing up, I started doing off-Broadway things, and I did like it, but I did realize that it wasn't kind of like my sweet spot in the sense of that's what I wanted to do for the rest of my life. And when I was around like 12, 13, I started going on the internet, because that's when the age when like social media was like kind of coming together. And I was just like, I'm going to find a recording studio and I'm going to make this my life. And I found a recording studio. It's the same one that I still go to this day. It's called the Lock Sound Studio out here on Long Island. And I was like, Dad, like we have to go here. And he sent an email, and the rest is history.
That's amazing. And I'm affiliated with one studio out there in Long Island. It's Kylan Productions. So shout out to Gaetano there. That's a great studio as well. I love that whole, the scenery out there. Long Island's sick because you have a little bit of everything. If you're in kind of the city, but like the ocean's right there if you want to just head out to the beach, So I dig it. Now, you have like over 30 songs recorded and everything. Like, you must have a lot on the back burner, right? Like you must have like a lot that you're like, oh, I wanted to finish this, but it didn't get done. Am I right about that?
I have so many songs on the back burner. And if one of my producers is watching this, like they'll be like, I know exactly what you're talking about, because every time we finish a song, I'm just such a perfectionist. And I'm like, oh, like I want to hold on to it for a little bit longer. I don't want to, or like, let's change it. Or I'll literally finish it and then I'll go into the studio next week and be like, erase all of it. Like, let's do it again. That type of person where I'm so particular about what I release. But these next releases that I have coming up, I am so excited about.
I condone that 100%, you know, taking your time with stuff. Like I've said it on this podcast before. I've rushed projects out, you know, any artist that's signed to me now, I like make sure I'm working with them very closely like you're doing, you know, and take your time because once it's out there, it's out there. You know, it's a big important thing. Like a lot of people, a lot of artists nowadays are getting that thing stuck in their head where they're like, oh, I have to have a song out every week, one song a week. It's like, yes and no. I mean, I'd rather record, you know, 52 songs a year ahead of time and then release them rather than, you know, it's like, is that kind of something that you do? You make sure you're planning releases way ahead?
It's very like spur of the moment. So like the song that I'm releasing at the literally next week. Oh my gosh, that's so weird to say. The song that I'm releasing next week, I recorded back in October.
Oh,
so
wow.
I holding on to it for some time. But then, you know, my previous single that I had, which is The Unknown, I recorded that, I think, in August. So, like, I hit the burner on that one right away. I was
that's
like,
amazing.
out. So, it's like really, really dependent on like how I'm feeling. Like, I guess in that season of my life, I like this past like few months, like, I had like a whole bunch of stuff that like I was going through personally. And I kind of like didn't have my head in the space of like, okay, like, this is exactly what I want. So I wanted to wait until I kind of like moved out of that headspace to be like, this is the song, this is the video, this is the concept, the idea, the choreography, like, and now I'm like fully like full speed ahead. So I'm really happy and grateful that I waited because, you know, sometimes if you do things when you're not in like the perfect state of mind, you're going to like wind up regretting it. And I never regret anything with my music, but it is something like that I think long and hard about. Like I changed my mind like 20 times. I'm so indecisive.
Yeah, you know what though? You have the right mentality. You're proactive, you know, and like in a way, I'm kind of excited to see where you end up, you know, because it's like you have this sound to you right now, which I love but I've mixed hip hop with EDM type stuff like that. So I love EDM and I hear a lot of that with your music. So I'm like, okay, yeah, but I also heard like a little like country twang in certain songs where you're singing and stuff. And I'm like, wow, it's like she could really do any genre. So it's almost like I'm curious to see where you're going to be in 10 years. You know, you could be in a totally different genre. Now, is that something you see yourself doing, kind of exploring different areas?
I mean, I love all styles of music, and there's not like kind of a style where I would ever like kind of deny trying, I want to say is the word. I mean, I think it's just kind of like where my life takes me and, you know, the things that I go through, the things that I want to write about, and the kind of things that just come out of me as an artist. And it, you know, it all comes down to also like the people you surround yourself with. You know, if I get the opportunity to work with an amazing country producer and they're like, hey, like this might not be your style, but why don't you try it? I'm going to try it.
Absolutely.
You know, like very one of those people that's like pretty much open to anything. So I guess we'll see where the music world has to take me.
Right. No, and that's awesome to have an open mind to see where it's going to go. Because look at like even like you're coming up in an awesome generation too. Like I only have 10 years on you, but like your generation, like it's so funny to see what advantages different generations have. You know, like you said, like, oh, when I was younger, like the internet, this and that. Like when I was younger, the internet was like kind of getting there, you know, it wasn't really huge yet. So like with you, there was no YouTube. We were downloading music videos, you know, put them on hard drives and stuff. So it's just like, it's so cool. It's almost like an advantage you have because you're ahead of the curve. You know, there's so much innovation coming out now and you're ahead of it because you're seeing it all happen as it's happening and you're ready for it. You know, when it was happening for me, I was like, what's going on? Hold on, come on. It's like, it was also new, you know? So that's an advantage you have. And I totally respect that. And the one song that I can't wait to hear, and I'm going to play it right here for everybody, I want to hear more about. Tell me a little bit about The Unknown.
Yeah, so The Unknown was just released past October. A fun fact about that is on my 21st birthday, I got to play the House of Blues and perform that song live. Like literally, it was the first time I performed it live since it came out, and it was just like such like an exhilarating feeling. That song, I wrote with my producer, and I was just like, I just want a feel good party song. And he was like, well, what do you want it to be about? And I was like, I literally don't know. And he's like, okay. So as we were kind of coming up with ideas, and I was like, but what if it's literally about like, you don't know what's going to happen next? Like life is the unknown, because you never know what's going to happen today, tomorrow, in an hour, in a minute from now, you know? So as we were like kind of coming up with the idea and getting like the chords and the chorus together, it really came together to this really, really cool like dance beat, which could also be really cool in some like EDM remixes, which I think is like a really cool opportunity that I would love to explore. But I'm super proud of it. I love it. The music video, I helped direct like so much. The people who worked on that were amazing. So shout out to all of them. I had my dancers in it, and we had such a good time. And it's honestly one of my favorite videos to date. So I'm really excited for you to hear it.
I can't wait to hear it. So you heard it here. We're going to listen to The Unknown by Ali Berke. This song is already available on all major digital streaming platforms. You can find the music video on YouTube, in which we're going to play right here if you're watching this on YouTube, or you'll hear it on the audio versions of this podcast. We're going to get right into this song with Ali Berke, and then we're going to get right back to talking about music with her. That was The Unknown by Ali Berke. Like I said, you could find that song everywhere on YouTube, all the major digital streaming platforms, wherever you need to hear it. It was dope. I loved it.
Thank you.
What's your experience with music video? Like everyone, it's not even like I've met a lot of artists over time, you know, as I'm sure you have too, but like the artists I met, like you see music video qualities all over the place. You'll see like, oh, they record this video in their closet because of this budget and that budget. They record here. Like all of your videos are consistent in quality and production. Like how did that happen? Like, do you have like a video background? Did you go to school for this or anything?
No, personally, I did not. Definitely not tech savvy at all. I have honestly an incredible team of people that have helped me over the years. All of my videos have been done by some incredible directors and videographers that I've had the chance and the pleasure to work with. I'm so grateful that I have. And the same videographers that have been doing some of my other videos will actually be doing my next music video. So I'm super excited. But no, yeah, I'm just very thankful that I get to work with such talented people. But I take absolutely no credit because I have no technology knowledge.
Yes, but the one thing I could say you're nailing, and you're obviously doing it unintentionally, is the consistency, with the branding. And obviously this goes to your team too. So, credit to them. But like, I've always seen progression, with artists, different artists come on here and you're like, okay, you could tell that one was back when they started, or this was back then. Like, yours are pretty consistent. It's like, okay, when was this one? Like, oh my God, this was a year ago, or this was 2 years ago. It's like, oh my God, you wouldn't even know because it matches up to everything. And it's awesome. I dig that. Now, who were some of your biggest influences? Like, hearing your songs now, obviously, like I said, you're kind of all over the place with, genres or whatever. Who were some of your biggest influences growing up?
So growing up, definitely Miley Cyrus, Hannah Montana was like my number one. I had like Hannah Montana lunchbox, toothbrush, you name it. Like, I was like avid fan. And then as I was kind of getting older, I loved Fifth Harmony. Camila Cabello is still like one of my biggest inspirations. She's so awesome. I actually got the opportunity to meet her a few times, which is awesome. And she's just one of those people that's so humble and so down to earth, where it's like, like, it is possible to do all of these things and still just be such a nice human. A lot of people like with label celebrities or singers or, even people of my caliber that's not, I might not be playing Madison Square Garden right now, but I'm still trying. And it's not like a thing where I think I'm better than this one or better than that one. Like, I'm one of those people that's so big into like artists supporting artists. Like, if I see like one of the people from my studio having a show, like, I'll make sure to comment, I'll make sure to share. Like, I'm one of those people that really just loves music and loves the whole energy around it. And she really gave off that vibe, which is another reason why she's someone that inspires me so much. And, as time goes on, Ariana Grande, Tate McRae is someone that I think my style is very similar to. We're around the same age, sing about kind of the same things. And, all these, I love like Justin Bieber, Ariana Grande, Olivia Rodrigo, all those people. So
that's so dope. And it's so funny how you're talking about like the support system like that. For the longest time, I hated record labels, and I worked in the industry. It's just, I always hated them because I just felt like it was unfair to artists. Well, it then came time, that I was like, okay, I have all the resources to start a label, but I've always hated labels. So why would I start a label? But then I'm like, why don't I start a label that's fair to the artist? And the reason I mention this is because it seems like we're in a time right now where artists are becoming more collaborative rather than more competitive. Like, it comes back to the generational type thing. When I was starting out and everything, it was competitive, and I mean, I started in New York just like you, I was in Midtown. And so now everything seems a lot more collaborative. And like, another thing I admire about you, that's so cool to hear that, because there are still the artists out there nowadays that are like, oh no, I'm not, like, screw that, they're competition, I'm not doing it, but being supportive is the best because obviously, like, networking is key here.
For sure.
So being that those are your influences, if you had to pick one of all time, what is like your favorite song? Like, even to this day, you've been listening to it since you were young or whatever, that you're like, I love this song, this will be with me forever.
A song that I think will always stick with me. I actually haven't listened to it in a while, but something that I actually sang in like the third grade talent show or second grade talent show, one of those, and it's called The Climb by Miley Cyrus. And my grandma and me always used to like sing that song, and she was always saying, like, she's like, you have to listen to the words. And it's like, there's always going to be an uphill battle. Like, you're always going to have to lose. Like, life isn't perfect and life is a climb. And I think, as I'm growing up and, even in everyday life still, everything is like a roller coaster and it's a constant climb, and I think that song is so beautiful and it portrays it so well. And I think that will always have a lot of meaning to me for the rest of my life.
And it's so funny how there's timeless songs like that that can just hold on. You could hold on to forever, you know?
For sure.
Speaking of that, though, speaking of timeless songs, there was one of yours that I heard that I was like, oh my God, this song could totally be listened to in so many different environments by so many different people. And it was your song PlayStation. And it has crazy amount of streams, so obviously it's popular. Yeah. Now, that being said, are you a gamer, or was that just kind of like a song you just thought of?
So I'm not a gamer. The story behind it's actually kind of funny. So I wrote that song in, I want to say 11th or 12th grade, and I was sitting in my classroom during class, and I just was like, I was going through like, you know, like a high school, like, he loves me not kind of thing. And what I thought was love, obviously. And I turned to my friend, and I'm like complaining, and I'm like, I just can't believe this. And I turned to my friend, and I'm like, he's playing me like a game. And that just sparked something in my head, and I was like, okay. And I took the notebook that I was writing my notes in for class, and I wrote PlayStation top to bottom in that class. And I was just like, like, just like writing it in my head. And then I was like, what could I call this? And I was like, what is something that like is a game that is relatable that could be a place? So like a PlayStation could be a place, but it's also a gaming console. So it's like, you have me in this PlayStation, like where it's just like, I'm like being played just like the game.
That's so dope. Like, cause I was like, it actually goes to say like, I was like, oh, you can play it in so many different places, you know? Yeah. But like, I only thought there was one story behind it that I was like thinking of, like the fact that you said that there's so many different meanings to the song. That's so cool. Yeah. And so if you haven't heard PlayStation by Ali Berke, go check it out. Very popular song on all major digital streaming platforms. Now, don't want to keep you here all night. So I will say there's one more question, and it's, what do you have going on this summer?
This summer is so exciting. So next week, I drop my new single called 19 through 20. That's going to be the kickoff of my summer musical adventure. I'm super excited. We're filming the music video on the day that it's coming out, which is going to be so fun. I'm so excited. And that's going to be coming out super soon. I'm going to be performing at a bunch of restaurants on Long Island. So if you're in the Long Island area, make sure to go follow my social media to see where I'm performing, when I'm performing, and to make sure to come down. And my big thing that I have right now that it's coming up super soon is I'm opening for one of the Backstreet Boys on July 15th at Stereo Garden in Patchogue. The AJ McLean of the Backstreet Boys, I'll be opening for him, which I'm so excited about. In August, I'll be in California performing on the main stage at the Orange County Fair. Super excited about that. And I have a bunch more stuff in the works, things that aren't confirmed yet, but will be. So make sure to keep updated and stay on the lookout.
And where you can do that is her Linktree /Ali Berke, and that's ALIBERKE. So go find her everywhere. You can find her on the socials as well at the same name. Go find her, go follow her, go listen to her, go support her wherever you can. Thanks again for coming on, and I can't wait to hear more from you soon.
Thank you so much for having me. It's been so much fun.